Hi, this is Evil. I'm going to give you some tutorials on some basic shadowing techniques. Basic shadowing techniques that will get you by in the game for edits. That you will look a lot better than having no shadows at all. You absolutely need shadows. A badly placed shadow can ruin your entire edit, and no shadows definitely ruin your edits. So I hope this helps, and we're going to start with the basic standing shadow. So we're going to go ahead and get your elliptical marquee tool, and it would be located under your rectangular marquee tool, and make a new layer underneath your avatar layer, default black over white. Then make a circle, and then hit Alt and Delete to fill it with black. Then Control V, sorry, not Control V, Control T as in Tom to select, and let's just drag this over to the foot and turn it a bit. You want it to go, the oval to go in the same direction as her foot. So now you can just use your arrows to nudge it in there, make it better. Alright, hit enter. Okay, we're going to need to make it a little smaller. And hit V as in Victor on the keyboard so I can move this freely. Control T, bring that back. The whole point here is that you want the shadow to be darker at the part of the foot that's hitting the ground the most. So the ball of the foot on this front foot would be where the shadow would be more noticeable, a lot darker. So you're trying to get that effect. Okay, we're going to go ahead and blur this with the filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Okay, that's not too bad. Hit OK. Let's move it forward just a bit and down. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and make another layer and get zoomed in here. Get our brush tool, make this smaller, and just barely skate outside of the shoe. Just darker right here. Okay, you can see that. Now get your blur tool, just blur it a bit, and there is that. Now I'm going to lower the opacity a little bit with the bottom layer, just a little bit. There we go. Okay, I think that's good. Good enough. Yeah. V as in Victor to move that shadow just a bit. You really want it to be up really close to her foot. So there's that. Now we're going to do the same with this back foot. Now this back foot almost looks like it's in the air, but it's not. It's just behind her a bit. So your shadows really could make this be interpreted totally different. So make sure that you do the same sort of shadow on this one as you did the front one. I'm just going to go ahead and copy the shadows from the front foot and move them to the back. So go to your layer panel and select the top layer, then control click the second one and hold Alt down and drag, and that'll make a copy of those two layers. And then just move them over and move them into place with your arrow keys. Now this one shows a little bit more of the foot backside, so we need to make that shadow extend just a tiny bit, but it has to be light and more blurred. So I'm going to Control T, I'm going to zoom in here, and go to the warp tool up here, or not. Oh, because I have two layers selected. Okay, we'll just go ahead and use the control button. Hold control down, just drag it a bit, hit enter, and put that into place again, just like that. And now blur it a little bit. I'm going to merge these so we don't have to deal with that. Okay, bring that down. It's not going to work very well like that. Okay, that's good. Now go ahead and get your brush tool, zoom in again, not that close. Make another new layer, and just make it, oops, yeah, that's good. Make it nice, dark right there. Get your blur tool, just blur it a tiny bit, and voila. Okay, We're going to lower the opacity of that bottom layer. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead, we're going to add a drop shadow. When you click on the drop shadow, make sure that you click next to the word drop shadow, not the checkbox. If you click the checkbox, the options for the drop shadow will not show up. Okay, so now here are the options here. They're going to pretty much remain what they are here. You can lower or raise the opacity up a bit if you'd like your shadow to be a little bit darker. But the point of this shadow is not for it to be seen, but to be felt and to give her depth. So you really don't want it to be that noticeable, but it will be. If you don't see it, then you would notice it. So right about there is good. Go ahead and hit OK. Actually, don't hit OK. We have to do the bevel and emboss. Click on bevel and emboss, and these settings here are pretty good for this edit anyway. I keep my shadow mode turned down. My highlight mode is where all the color comes from. You want to put the color of whatever color is in your edit that you want to have stand out. And yeah, so you can copy these settings and use them on your edits. Okay, then hit OK. And now we are going to tackle the blasted wall shadow. Let's see if we can do this. I'm going to put these other shadows in a group. Just click the first one, hold shift, click the last, and then click this little folder button. That'll put them in a group together, and they'll remain in that group and safe and sound, but they're out of the way. So we're going to go ahead and make another new layer under her, and we're going to control click her thumbnail picture here. Make sure you have black selected. Go to your gradient tool, make sure that black over transparent selected. You want to have black at our feet and transparent at the top. So we are going to click here, then drag up, holding shift. Do it a second time. And Control D is in David to get rid of the marching ants. There's the shadow. Okay, now for this part we need to move her over, because when we move the shadow down, part of it will end up going off the edge of the page, and if that happens, it'll get cut off when we do the bend part of the of this technique. So go ahead and select your avatar layer, go down all the way to the shadows, and shift click. Get your move tool by clicking V as in Victor. Move her over to the opposite side of whichever direction you're going to put the shadow. So now go to the shadow layer, Control T as in Tom, click Control to hold, and then click the anchor up on the top middle and drag it down. Don't worry so much about the feet right now matching. We'll fix those in a minute. Make that a little bit fatter. Okay, that works. Maybe it's too much. Right about there. Okay. Now hit Enter and go to your rectangular marquee tool. Select everything of the top shadow above the floor. Don't go below the floor at all. Then right click and free transform. Hold Control and get that middle anchor and drag that shadow straight back up. Make sure it's in the same angle as your avatar is standing. Mine's at a bit of a back, she's leaning back slightly, so I want my shadow to be leaning back the same. Okay, now Control D to deselect. Oops, hit Enter, then Control D to deselect. And Control T, I'm going to make this a bit thinner without moving it to distort that line right there. Okay, that's better, I think. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to get these feet to match up. So with it, with Control T, click on the warp tool up there and simply pull those feet so that they are toe to toe with the avatar. The shadow has to be toe to toe with your avatar. At least you need it to appear that they're toe to toe. Anything that's left over you can erase and nobody's going to know the difference. So we'll get the eraser tool, get rid of that, make it a hard edge and the flow up so we can do this shift right bracket. Bring this flow up and just erase that and that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and drop this opacity quite a bit to about 30-ish. And we're going to blur. Actually, it looks good without being blurred, so I'm not going to blur it. Just click it a little tiny bit here and there. Okay, that's good. Okay, now we can go ahead and put them back in the middle. V is Victor to move. There we go. Alrighty. Now you can add another shadow, a circle shadow down below to show you, like for her body. But honestly, in the edits, you're not going to really need it. So if you can get just this part down, great. This wall shadow is not necessary for every edit. If you have a defined light source, then you need to use the wall shadow. Otherwise, you can get away with just simply using the circle shadows under her feet and a body shadow under her body. And you might even just get away with just the circle feet. So let's go ahead and go on to the next shadow. Close that. We're going to go with the sitting shadow this time. Now this chair has a shadow under it slightly, so that's good, but the feet still look like the chair is floating, so we need to ground the chair. So what I'm going to do is make a new layer under the chair, drag that down, get my elliptical marquee tool, make a circle, and Alt-Delete to fill it with black, Control-D to deselect. I'm just going to V as in Victor to move tool and move that under there. Hold Alt down and drag the mouse and you can make a copy of it and move that there. Use your arrow keys to put into place. Do the same thing, Alt, drag, and make another one. You can also do Control J as in Jack to make a copy of the layer. I just do it this way, it's easier. Control T to do select and bring those circles down. I could have actually done this on the first one and not had to go back to do all of them individually, which is what I suggest. So there's that one, and now this last one. Alright, there we go. Now we're going to put these into place a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use my blur tool to blur these because they are so small. I'm going to first merge them because I don't want to mess with 4 different layers. So go ahead and click on the first one, shift click the last one, right click, merge layers. Then just go in and just go over it a little bit with the blur tool. Lower the opacity a bit. And there you go, grounded. Now we're going to double click on the chair, drop shadow, and the settings here are good. I'm going to actually flip the shadow around because she's going to have her shadow coming this way when on the chair. So yeah, I'm going to put a inner shadow on the chair because it's a little bit bright. I'm going to put a bevel and emboss on the chair for the red highlight because she's going to also have that on her. And okay, I'm going to make those shadows right there a little bit more detailed or dark. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Make this smaller. Go to my brush tool. Whoops. Okay, we're going to zoom in on this so we can see what the heck we're doing. Okay, and now just right under the chair leg, right there. Make it dark. Just a line under there. Okay, that one didn't work out so well. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, so we just want to darken it just like this. under the feet. And I'm sure you can see it looks a lot better already. So blur tool, just click the blur tool on it a bit, just to blend it in a little. Okay, there we go. Chair is now grounded. I'm going to lower the opacity on that slightly. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do her shadows. And for her, I am going to make a layer under her above the chair. Get closer here. And we're going to use the brush tool, this shape. Just go to your brush palette and select the first brush, the soft round brush, and then go to the brush tools in the little folder. You'll open this and select transfer, make sure spacing's down, make it narrow, and yeah, there you go. Then go over here. Now remember, the same thing applies here. The closer the body part is to the object, the darker and the harder the shadow will be. The further away the body part, the softer the shadow will be and the lighter. So the butt here, as it gets higher, the shadow's going to get, softer and lighter. And here's the same thing. The leg is going to be a little softer on the edges. Okay. So now we need to go in with the blur tool on this. Let's just soften that edge up. Get that over there. Okay, bring a little bit more of the shadow back here. Okay, blur tool. There we go. Now we're going to lighten that up. Yes, just like that. Now get your brush again, make a new layer, and just under her, right there, you're going to make it darker. Under her butt, right there. Just that part, not all the way back, just right directly under her butt. Okay, blur tool again. Okay, now we can move that up just a bit. Hit V as in Victor to get your move tool. Move that up a bit. Looks pretty good. Alright, now let's see, let's back up a little bit and see how that looks. Okay, might have to lower that opacity just a bit. And this one might, yeah, that one looks pretty good. We'll leave that there. Okay, so now we need to get the brush again and a new layer. This one's going to be for her other leg. And just need it to go just a little bit. Wait, let's go back and do that again. Oops. Just a little bit down here. Because just very little of this. Actually, we're going to turn this brush first before we do this. Go up to your little folder and turn the brush like in the same direction as the leg is. And there we go. Then go here. We only need to put the shadow on part of it because it's going to go, the angle is going to be in such a way that the shadow is going to not be seen on part of the leg. So this is good. Okay. I think it's a little bit bigger than that. It's always better to have too much than not enough, right? Okay, so there's that. And oops, we're also going to do this under here. Don't worry about going over. We can erase that. So get the blur tool, blur that like always. I want it to be, this is going to be the soft, lighter level of the shadow. And this one is too. So blur it pretty good. Okay, now get another new layer, brush, lower the size, and just make it darker right on the edge there. Do the same down here. Okay, now blur it again. There we go. And blur that. And go up to this shadow up here that we're on. Hold down your Alt button. Actually, first drag it down to your chair, right above your chair level. Hold your Alt button down, and when your mouse, little mouse thingy turns into this arrow, click. Is this not on the chair level? Yes, it is. Why isn't it working? Oh, I must have more than one level. Okay, we'll do that on all of them then. There we go. Basically what that does is it puts the shadow on the chair. It gives it a mask that masks it to that chair. And it will only now affect the chair level. So that's a nice little trick. Alright, so now we need to let's put this all in a group together. There we go. And okay, that shadow is a little bit too dark, I think. Let me back out and see. Yeah, it's a little bit too dark. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the opacity a bit. Yeah, definitely down there. Not so much up there, I don't think. I'm going to probably leave that one a little bit higher. This one is the one that's under the leg, so I'm going to move tool it over. Yeah, turn it a little bit. There we go. Bring it in slightly. Alright, we're going to fix that again, and maybe a little bit dark in there, because that's the great thing about these. You can always go back and tweak them. Okay, now let's see if I can get this to work. Okay. And V's and Victor and arrow keys. Alright, that looks fine now. Okay, so now we need to put some shadows down here. Elliptical marquee tool, circles, Alt delete. Make a new layer first. Don't be a dummy like me. Let's go ahead and make a new layer outside of that group there. Or in the group, whatever. Alright, Alt delete. There's our black. Control D to deselect. V is in Victor to move tool. Control T to select that circle. Turn it to the same angle as your shoe, just like before. Use your arrow keys to nudge it into place. Okay. Okay, so we need to now blur this. So filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Okay, there we go. Nudge it into place with your your arrows on your keyboard. Let's turn that a bit. There we go. It's better. Okay. I'm going to erase part of this side. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Alright, so shift and left bracket to make your brush soft. Lower the opacity or the flow to 1. Because her foot is kind of not on the ground all the way, you want to put the toes lighter. The shadow needs to be lighter under the toes. Most of the shadow is going to be under the ball of the foot there. Okay, blur tool. Okay, now we can darken it a little bit more, I think. Actually, let's just make a copy of that layer. So Control J and Control T, turn it a bit. Make it a little smaller. V as in Victor to get your move tool. There we go. Lower the opacity. We're going to make another layer and use our brush to make its own shadow. Go up to the little folder and turn this angle back to left to right, horizontal, and go under this foot, right about, actually it's going to be on the toe, just the toe, right there. Now we need to blur it. Okay, make it a little bit bigger. We want to have it to be, the bottom shadow to be as wide as the foot. So make a new layer and your brush tool, I'm going to make it smaller. This time put it just under the toe. There we go. Blur tool again. And that's good. Okay, now we just need to put shadows behind her legs. Alright, so you have the new layer. Make a new layer. Control click her layer with the new layer selected. Alt delete to fill it. Then Control D to deselect. And we're going to erase all of her except for the lower parts of her legs. So shift right bracket to make your brush a hard edge brush, and now just erase the shadow all the way down to her calves. Bring the flow up. There we go. Alright, now control and click that top middle anchor. Turn her layer back on because we need to see her for guidance. Control T and drag the shadows back behind her. Just up here to the, I guess, the edge of the chair, where the chair starts. Now you're going to hit enter. Okay, we're going to make a mask on that layer. Click the little rectangle with the circle. This mask will allow us to make the shadow fade as it gets further. And what happens is white will show everything that's on this layer. Black will hide whatever's on this layer, whatever we paint. So use our brush. Usually you use a brush, but for this one we're going to use a gradient tool. Make sure that you have black selected and your gradient will be black over transparent. Then use your linear gradient here and make sure that this mask layer is selected and click and drag, and then that's what you'll see. The shadow will fade that way. Do that. Okay, Control T. Make that a little bit more narrow, maybe turn it a bit. Okay, now we're going to lower the opacity on the shadows on her feet. Blur them, Gaussian blur. And maybe to put that opacity back. And then we will be done. So make another layer. And with your brush, just make a shadow, then your blur tool. Okay. Oops. Blur tool. This needs to be a little further from her because she's standing away from this back of this seat a bit. Oops. Lower the opacity. Filter blur, Gaussian blur. There we go. Now make one more new layer, brush tool, and hit your little folder, change the angle of the brush a little bit more. Go in the same direction as what we're putting the shadow on, right there. Just click real close to her, right about there. Then get your blur tool again, and there. Okay. If you lower this one down a little bit more, and this one. Okay, there it is, your shadow. Hope this helped. Thanks for watching, and toodles.